Howdy folks, this is John Caldwell here with the results of the grandest spectacle on earth, WrestleMania 35, which was live from the MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, home of the Jets and Giants. Man oh man, what a historic and amazing WrestleMania it was. Let's go ahead and get right into those results. Our first match was the first kickoff match of the show. It was the WWE Cruiserweight Champion Buddy Murphy taking on Tony Nese for the Cruiserweight Championship. Nese got several near falls, including a 450, but Murphy kicked out. Murphy hit Murphy's Law, but Nese got his foot on the ropes. Nese hit a German suplex into the corner and then hit the running knee to pin Murphy and win the title. So there you have it, brand new Cruiserweight Champion in Tony Nese. Our second kickoff show match was the Women's Battle Royal match, which featured Asuka, Carmella, Naomi, Lana, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Mickie James, Selena Vega, and more. Lillian Garcia did the ring introduction for this match. The only ones to get individual entrances were Naomi and Asuka. Maria Kanellis was the first one eliminated. Naomi was eliminated by Ember Moon, and Ember was eliminated by Lana. The Riott Squad started working together. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were also working together. Dana Brooke fought them off and ended up eliminating both Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. Sarah Logan eliminated Asuka at the end, but Carmella hadn't been eliminated. Carmella ended up eliminating Sarah with a super kick to pick up the victory. So there you have it, Carmella wins the Women's Battle Royal. Our next kickoff show match was the Raw Tag Team Championship match between the Raw Tag Team Champions The Revival and Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. When Hawkins started the match, the announcers brought up how Hawkins lost for 269 matches heading into WrestleMania. The Revival got the heat on Ryder and Hawkins made the hot tag. Hawkins got several near falls but couldn't score a victory. Hawkins appeared to be knocked out but was playing possum and rolled up Dawson to score the victory and win the tag team titles. So there you have it folks, the streak is over. Kurt Hawkins finally wins a match, and it's for the silver. I was going to say gold, but as you know, Raw Tag Team titles are not gold. So congratulations to Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins for becoming the new Raw Tag Team Champions. Our final kickoff show match was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which featured Colin Jost and Michael Shea of Saturday Night Live, Braun Strowman, Andrade, Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, Tyler Breeze, Jinder Mahal, No Way Jose, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, Kalisto, Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Heath Slater, Rhino, Victor, Connor, Ali, Shelton Benjamin, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Otis, Tucker, EC3, and more. Luke Harper returned for the Battle Royal but didn't get an entrance. The Saturday Night Live host, Hardy Boys, and Braun Strowman got entrances. The SNL host immediately hid under the ring when the match started. Braun Strowman was cleaning house right off the bat and then had a stare down with Luke Harper until everyone else got involved. At one point, Strowman got thrown through the ropes but wasn't officially eliminated. Strowman came back in and cleaned house again with more eliminations. The SNL guys came back in at the end and tried to eliminate Strowman from behind but failed. A therapist was called into the ring and Strowman took him out. Strowman slapped Michael out. Colin had a brief moment where he almost eliminated Strowman, but Strowman recovered and tossed Colin out into several wrestlers for the win. So there you have it folks, Braun Strowman is the 2019 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. And now we get into the main card of WrestleMania 35, and we start the main card with a bang as the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar put the Universal title on the line against Seth Rollins. WrestleMania host Alexa Bliss came out before the match. Alexa said if she wants a WrestleMania moment, all she needs to do is snap her fingers. You know, like Thanos. She snapped her fingers and Hulk Hogan's music hit out of nowhere. Hogan came out and joked that it felt great to be in the Silver Dome, but then he said it was the MetLife Center. Paul Heyman stormed into the ring. Heyman said that if Lesnar isn't closing the show, Lesnar vs. Rollins is kicking off the show so Lesnar can get on a plane to Las Vegas. Heyman introduced Lesnar. The fight began on the outside before the bell even rung. Lesnar hit an F5 onto Rollins on the floor. Lesnar threw Rollins around the ringside area and then threw the top piece of the announce table. The bell finally rang and Lesnar took Rollins to Suplex City. The referee got knocked down for a second and Rollins hit a low blow. Rollins hit a curb stomp, but Lesnar got right back up. Rollins hit 2 more curb stomps and then pinned Lesnar to win the Universal Championship. So there you have it. Seth Rollins, the Beast Slayer, is the brand new Universal Champion. Our next match was AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Jerry Lawler was the special guest commentator for this match. Orton almost got an RKO on Styles right off the bat. The crowd was distracted during parts of the match due to stadium lights shining too brightly towards people. After a back and forth match, Orton hit an RKO, but Styles kicked out. Orton attempted a top rope RKO, but Styles countered with a Pele kick. Styles hit a phenomenal forearm to Orton on the outside of the ring. Styles hit another one to Orton in the ring to pick up the victory. Our next match was for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships between SmackDown Tag Team Champions The Usos, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev, The Bar, and Aleister Black and Ricochet. Before the match started, Lacey Evans walked out. At one point, Cesaro did a very lengthy swing to Ricochet, while Cesaro did the 10 beats to various people. There was also a huge Tower of Doom spot that Ricochet managed to avoid damage from. Ricochet hit a 630, but numerous people broke up the pinfall. After a sequence of finishing moves were hit, the Usos did stereo splashes and pinned Sheamus. So there you have it, the Usos are still the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So a lot of people did not like this result. A lot of people wanted Aleister Black and Ricochet to pick up the tag team titles. I personally thought that they would, seeing as though they lost the NXT Tag Team Championship match. I thought that they were going to get the main show call up, but I guess not. After that, we had The Miz versus Shane McMahon in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Shane McMahon made sure he got his proper introduction when he came out to the ring and had the announcer do it again in the ring, which was really amazing. The Miz's dad was shown at ringside. Shane stalled for time and then grabbed Miz's dad. Shane ran and then caught Miz when Miz tried to jump over the barricade after him. Shane hit Miz with a TV monitor and laid out Miz on the announce table. Shane was attempting to do a flying elbow when Miz's dad got in front of a table. Miz's dad completely out of nowhere got in the ring to confront Shane, which was pretty funny to see. Shane took a cheap shot at Miz's dad and then Miz got back in the ring and snapped. Miz then went to check on his father. The fight continued into the crowd, and by one of the support beams, Miz used a steel chair as the two fought up through the crowd. The two fought near the international announcers and tore the area apart. The two ended up fighting in a scaffolding area where various cameras were set up. Shane climbed to the top and Miz came up as well. Shane begged Miz, but Miz went after Shane again. Completely out of nowhere, the Miz then superplexed Shane off the scaffold. However, Shane's arm landed on Miz's arm and Miz was pinned. I gotta say, this was a really awesome match. I was not expecting it to be this awesome, to be honest. I love the Miz, I love Shane, but I did not expect it to be as awesome as what it ended up being. You know, that whole spot of them doing the superplex, absolutely incredible, man. It was so awesome! Thank you, Miz. Our next match was for the Women's Tag Team Championships between the Women's Tag Team Champions Sasha Banks and Bayley taking on Beth Phoenix and Natalya, Nia Jax and Tamina, and the Iconics. Paige was a guest commentator for this match. Bret Hart came out for part of Beth Phoenix and Natalya's entrance. At one point, Natalya got a sharpshooter on both Sasha and Bayley. Beth hit a super glam slam to Bayley, but the Iconics stole the pin to win the tag team titles. So there you have it, folks. Brand new Women's Tag Team Champions in the Iconics. Our next match was for the WWE Championship between the WWE Champion, the new Daniel Bryan, and Kofi Kingston. Footage was shown prior to the match of the Empire State Building lit up with Bryan vs. Kofi graphics, which was so cool to see. Xavier Woods and Big E came out along with Kofi Kingston, and Rowan came out with Daniel Bryan. The whole locker room was shown watching the match. Bryan dominated much of the match, and the crowd chanted yes when Kofi made his comeback. The crowd did the boo yay chants when they exchanged punches. Bryan mockingly did the yes taunt, and the crowd chanted no. Kofi hit an SOS, but Bryan kicked out and reversed Kofi into the LeBell Lock. Kofi managed to get to the ropes. Kofi regained the advantage on the outside. Rowan stood in front of Bryan and then attacked Big E and Xavier. Kofi nailed Rowan, and then Big E and Xavier hit the Midnight Hour to Rowan. Kofi got Bryan back in the ring, but Bryan hit the running knee. However, Kofi kicked out. Bryan got the LeBell Lock on again, but Kofi was able to fight out of it. Kofi turned the tables on Bryan and started stomping Bryan in the face. Kofi out of nowhere hit the SOS and pinned Daniel Bryan to win the WWE Championship. After the match, Big E revealed the proper WWE title, which was presented to Kofi. They celebrated with Kofi's kids, and new t-shirts were unveiled. Finally, after so many years of busting his butt, Kofi Kingston is your brand new WWE Champion. And I think that this is so awesome, so incredible, and I know I say that a lot on here, but this right here really pumped me up. I was screaming my lungs out when Kofi Kingston won. I knew it was going to happen, but I was not prepared for when the moment was actually going to happen. And when it kicked in, oh my God, so cool to see. You know, I remember back in the fall of 2007, folks, when I was in 8th grade. I was just beginning 8th grade at A.B. Combs Elementary in Combs, Kentucky. And I remember seeing those vignettes of Kofi Kingston as a Jamaican, you know, on the island of Jamaica. And he kept saying that there was going to be some trouble in paradise. And judging from those vignettes, I thought originally that Kofi was going to be a heel. And then he made his debut on ECW back when it was on Sci-Fi in early 2008. And I watched him do his first boom drop in his debut match. And I thought to myself, wow, you know, this guy has got so much athleticism, so much charisma. This guy deserves to be a champion. He's a future champion, no doubt. And over the years, we watched Kofi evolve. We watched Kofi turn into just an incredible performer. We watched him win the United States title. We watched him win the Intercontinental title. We watched him win the World Tag Team title, the WWE Tag Team titles. You know, he got with the New Day, and that elevated his career to a much more higher point. He was much more charismatic. He was much more popular, and he had the veteran mindset where he had been in the business for so long to help out Big E and Xavier Woods. And so at that point, when they started the New Day and he had this veteran's mindset, it was left up to WWE to put the WWE title on him because he deserved it. He had done everything else in the company, and he deserved to be WWE Champion. And I gotta say that not only is this a well-deserved, long-awaited victory and moment, but it is a very historic moment because Kofi Kingston is the first ever African WWE Champion. And this is what the African American community has been waiting for a very, very long time. You know, for years and years, a lot of people thought that the WWE would not put the WWE Championship on an African American. There was a lot of people that didn't think that would happen because they believed that Vince McMahon was racist. You had this moment back a couple of years ago when Titus O'Neil got suspended for hugging Vince McMahon, I think during Daniel Bryan's retirement ceremony. And now we've got Kofi Kingston as the WWE Champion. And so parents who are wrestling fans can look at their kids who are wrestling fans, and they can say to their kids, you know, that can be you one day. You can be like Kofi Kingston, because now Kofi Kingston goes down in history with some of the greatest African Americans to ever step foot in the ring. People like Junkyard Dog, people like Big Cat Ernie Ladd, people like Bobo Brazil, Ron Simmons, Mark Henry, The Rock. The list goes on and on. He's up there with the best, and he will go down in history as the first ever African WWE Champion, which is so cool and so awesome. This also makes Kofi Kingston a Grand Slam champion. Boy oh boy. Hey Kofi, live it up, man. You deserve it, because Kofi Mania is running wild. After that match, we had the United States Championship match between United States Champion Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio. Before the match, the Saturday Night Live guys were being checked out backstage. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash appeared as the doctors, and Nash said that they would start with a prostate exam. Oh my god. Rey Mysterio hit the 619 right away, but Joe quickly recovered and got the Coquina clutch on. Mysterio quickly passed out. So there you have it. Samoa Joe is still your U.S. champion. That match didn't really last long. I think it lasted probably like 10 seconds maybe, or something like that. Didn't last long at all, and a lot of people was really surprised that Mysterio jobbed. But you also gotta keep in mind that Mysterio was injured, you know, in real life, and so that had a lot to do with it. But Samoa Joe got super over with that, and I think a lot of people need to give Samoa Joe a lot of credit for that. Our next match was Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. McIntyre had a special entrance with bagpipes. McIntyre dominated much of the match, and the announcers wondered if Reigns would have the stamina to keep going. McIntyre started trash-talking Reigns and said he broke the Shield. McIntyre slapped Reigns and Reigns snapped. Reigns hit the spear and picked up the victory. After that match, we seen a video of Elias clones playing solos on the drums and piano. Elias was then shown in the ring with his guitar for his concert. Elias started playing a song along with the videos of his clones playing the drums and the piano. How in the hell did Elias clone himself? That's what I'm wondering. Completely out of nowhere, Elias started playing the Seven Nation Army riff when the fans were singing it, which was really awesome to see. Elias's concert was interrupted by a Babe Ruth video of Ruth hitting a home run. Completely out of nowhere, to the surprise of everyone in MetLife Stadium and the millions watching on the network, John Cena appeared with his Word Life gimmick. Cena had various disses, including referencing Elias to a piece of shih tzu. Cena ended the rap by hitting Elias with an FU. This was really, really cool to see. I was not expecting this. I knew John Cena was probably going to interrupt Elias's concert, but I did not expect John Cena to be the Doctor of Thugonomics. Will he continue to be the Doctor of Thugonomics? I don't really know. I think it's highly unlikely. It's probably just a one-off thing. But that was really, really awesome to see. Big round of applause to WWE for doing that. That was so cool. Our next match was the no-holds-barred match between Triple H and Batista. Shawn Michaels was the special guest commentator. Batista had a Hollywood entourage for his entrance. Triple H had a Mad Max-style entrance. The fight went right to the outside when the bell rang. Triple H hit Batista with a toolbox and started using a chain on Batista. Triple H then used a wrench on Batista's fingers. After that, Triple H ripped off Batista's nose ring, which was really, really hard to watch. Batista finally gained an advantage by slamming Triple H on the announce table. Batista set the steel steps up on a table and tried to give Triple H a Batista bomb, but Triple H gave Batista a back body drop onto the other table. Triple H then speared Batista through the table. Back in the ring, Batista hit a spear, but Triple H kicked out. Batista then hit the Batista bomb, but Triple H kicked out again. Triple H powerbombed Batista onto the steel steps and hit a pedigree, but Batista kicked out. Completely out of nowhere, Ric Flair showed up and handed a sledgehammer to Triple H. Triple H hit Batista with the sledgehammer and then won with the pedigree. So there you have it. Triple H is not going to retire anytime soon. I also want to add that Batista had a botch when he was trying to enter the ring. He got his foot caught between the ropes, which was pretty funny. Our next match was Kurt Angle's farewell match against Baron Corbin. Before the match, Alexa Bliss was with the B team. They were promoting Daniel Bryan WrestleMania victory shirts, and the B team started singing. Completely out of nowhere, Ron Simmons showed up and said, "Damn!" JBL was the special guest announcer for this match. The ring announcer read off Baron Corbin's introduction from an index card. Corbin raked Angle's eyes to gain an advantage. Corbin hit the deep six, but Angle kicked out. Angle came back and hit the Angle slam, but Corbin kicked out. Corbin regained control and mocked John Cena with the "You Can't See Me" taunt. Angle went to the top but missed a moonsault. Corbin hit the End of Days after that and pinned Kurt Angle. After the match, Angle got the microphone and said he had the time of his life for the past 20 years. Angle asked for his music to be played one more time so he could hear the crowd chant, "You suck." And Kurt, you never sucked. You was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, and he was the guy that got me into the WWE way back in 2002. And I was glad I got to meet you back in 2009 in Pikeville, Kentucky, when you was doing that TNA show. And enjoy retirement, brother. You definitely do deserve it. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. After that match, we had the Intercontinental Championship match between Intercontinental Champion Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush taking on the Demon Finn Balor. The fight began right when the bell rang and went to the outside of the ring. Lio Rush distracted Balor on the apron and Lashley speared Balor to the floor. Lashley then speared Balor in the ring, but Balor kicked out. Balor managed to powerbomb Lashley and then hit the coup de grace to win the Intercontinental Championship. It's so cool that we finally got to see the Demon at WrestleMania. And in our main event of WWE WrestleMania 35. The Raw Women's Champion Rowdy Ronda Rousey taking on the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, taking on the Man Becky Lynch in a winner-take-all match. Before the match, Alexa came out and announced a new record attendance for MetLife Stadium of 82,265. R-Truth then came out and did a dance break with Carmella. Charlotte made her entrance by landing from a helicopter outside the stadium. A red carpet was rolled out for her. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts performed live for Rousey's entrance. Rousey dominated early on the outside of the ring, but the other two quickly got back in the game. Charlotte hit a double natural selection, but couldn't put either of them away. At one point, Charlotte chopped Ronda, and Ronda said she chopped like a witch. Gotta keep it PG here, folks. Becky Lynch introduced the table into the match. Ronda tipped over the table and said, "Tables are for witches." Again, gotta keep it PG. Charlotte hit a double spear, but could put neither of them away. Charlotte got thrown onto a table by Becky and Ronda, and it was down to the two of them. Ronda went for Piper's Pit, but Becky countered into a pin and scored the victory. Corey Graves argued that perhaps Ronda got one of her shoulders up. After the match, Becky celebrated with both championships raised up high, fireworks blasting everywhere in the stadium as the show went off the air. Really, really amazing moment for Becky Lynch. That's something I will never forget. Becky Lynch closing WrestleMania with both titles held above her head. And it's a long time coming, folks. A lot of people never thought that the women would ever main event WrestleMania, but they did it. They proved everybody wrong, and they done it. I remember, like I said a couple of days ago, back in 2002, Armageddon 2002, I remember as a kid watching the Tori Wilson Dawn Marie segment. We went from that to the women main eventing WrestleMania. It's been a long, hard-fought road for the women, but they finally did it, and I'm ecstatic, and I'm really, really happy to see that finally happened. I remember the first time I seen Becky Lynch in early 2015, when I first started watching the network on NXT, and that was long before she had her fiery orange hair. She had the brown hair, and I thought to myself, this chick is just so awesome. You know, she's Irish, and I've got ancestors that are Irish. She's hot, she can wrestle, and I thought to myself, she just deserves everything. She really does. And here we are, years later, she's in the main event of WrestleMania, the undisputed women's champion. Man, what a moment. I gotta say that this was one of the best WrestleManias in a very long time for WWE. I believe that this was the best WrestleMania since WrestleMania 31. Such an awesome event. There were so many great moments. I loved the Falls Count Anywhere match with Miz and Shane. I loved Seth Rollins winning the Universal title. Of course, I loved Kofi Kingston winning the WWE title. I loved the whole Elias concert with John Cena as the Doctor of Thugonomics. Triple H versus Batista was really good. Kurt Angle saying farewell was very emotional to watch. The Demon coming back, that's something that I always wanted to see, was the Demon at WrestleMania. And of course, Becky Lynch holding both titles high in the air as the show went off the air. Man, if I had to rate WrestleMania 35 on a scale of 1 to 10, I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. There were a couple of things that I didn't like, but very, very few things that I did not like. Most of the things that happened in the show I really did like, so I gotta give it an 8 out of 10. I know that there were a lot of people that did not like Kurt Angle's farewell match. There were some people that felt as though the women shouldn't have main evented WrestleMania, that it should have been the men, and I got a message on Facebook as well from somebody saying that the main event was stupid. You can have your opinion. We can agree to disagree. And for the ones that say that the men should have main evented instead of the women, get that sexist attitude out of here. We ain't got no place for that. So it was really awesome. I loved WrestleMania 35. I give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely watch it on the WWE Network. And like I said, best WrestleMania since WrestleMania 31. Quick news note I'd like to pass along to all of you. Impact Wrestling released a short statement noting that Eli Drake has been let go by the promotion. Impact Wrestling stated, Impact Wrestling announced today that it has terminated its relationship with Sean Ricker, known as Eli Drake. While it's not confirmed why Drake was let go, he was recently dealing with creative issues, including the refusal to wrestle Tessa Blanchard in an intergender match at the United We Stand event. Drake's contract with Impact was scheduled to expire at the end of May. So once again, Eli Drake has been let go by Impact Wrestling. Alrighty folks, that's it. We made it through WrestleMania weekend. Those are your results for WrestleMania 35. Man, oh man, I can't wait to see what WrestleMania 36 in Tampa Bay is going to be like. But we did it, guys. Pat yourself on the back. We got through it. We got through WrestleMania weekend. For now, I will see you tomorrow for another great Jamin John's Wrestling News Flash briefing. Let's try to rest and recuperate after those 7.5 to 8 hours of watching WrestleMania, and for me, 8 to 9 hours because I also watched Ring of Honor. So I'm going to rest up. I will see you guys tomorrow. I love each and every single one of you. This is Jamin John saying thanks, goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow.